I like it. All right, are we jumping in then? Are we ready to go?
Ready to go.
I think we should get going.
Welcome to The Family Favorite, the podcast where we dive into our very different life's adventures, while remembering that we're all tangled in the same dysfunctional family tree. Remember to never take yourself too seriously, because there's only room for one family favorite, and spoiler, it's probably not you. This week's leftovers. So, who is the favorite child from last week? Let's do a little quick search to see what our raving fans said. Did anybody vote for themselves?
I did.
I did not.
In our poll.
I had to give.
We had an online poll.
I had to
on
give
Spotify.
myself at least one sympathy vote because I don't anticipate getting many, if any, and so I at least had to put myself on the map.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to lock my chair so I don't lean back.
Let's see. Oh, come on. Spotify is struggling to come up. I didn't have it up and tell me. As of last night, there were 5 whole votes.
Oh, amazing.
And 2 of them were for Brett.
Wow. Oh, Shannon went on there and voted. Shannon went and voted for him.
And the rest of us only all had 1. So, Brett, you're the big winner of the week.
Well,
how did the voting
wear,
work?
like the dunce hat when you win.
Yeah, I like to think that, Mom and Dad said they watched the podcast at least twice, and since I am baby Jesus, I'd like
Mom
to
did
think
say
they
that
probably gave me a vote.
She did say in the group chat
Yeah,
to
Yeah.
everybody that you were baby Jesus.
So
She definitely said that.
I think I got the parental vote.
Okay, well, maybe. So,
You need to make
so
that-
were there any? What's that,
Make a
Tara?
hat. This is Make America Win again.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen that hat.
And then
Winning.
the winner can wear that every week.
You know, we could get like we could get a pin, a family favorite pin. You wear it. We all have one. You wear it the week you win.
Ah, that's great.
Okay.
We could make a trophy, like a
trophy.
participation trophy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anybody have any questionable life choices this week? Anybody spent a little too much time delving into TikTok or
Always.
When do I
anything
have
you
a
want to
week
share?
where I don't have questionable life choices? I think would be that'd be an easier question. But
Anybody wants to share?
No, I think just my Twitter. It's going to take me a while to call it X, but my X feed is all political all the time. And I know I've been reading and clicking on more of that stuff lately, but it seems like it's 95% of what's coming through my feed right now is all political.
So you're big on X, Brett.
Yeah.
That's where the smart.
Tara, what is
go.
your guilty pleasure? Are you on X, dear?
Me?
Yeah.
No. Me? No.
And where are you spending the majority of your scroll time then?
Me? Oh, TikTok, 100%.
And what's happening down in the depths of TikTok this week?
I'm sure hers is so curated to fashion
mine's
and stuff.
pretty
that she doesn't
curated
see
to
anything.
fashion and food.
I'm sure she sees nothing of politics.
No, the political stuff gets in there for sure. But it's only when I go searching for it. It's not just like popping up in my feed typically.
Question.
Yeah.
Did the rocket ship show up in your feed after last week's recording?
It did not. I had to search for it.
It's disappointing. I thought maybe the chopsticks would have
You
shown
know
up.
why?
It is finely tuned. It knows what I want to see.
No.
Why, Brett?
Well, it's communist China controlling TikTok. Why would they want people to know, especially Americans, to know that we're launching rockets into space?
Well, he's not wrong. The Chinese TikTok.
I mean, we'll have a moon landing soon, And China doesn't want us to see that.
I don't know about that.
Kurt doesn't also believe that we're going to land on the moon.
We've
Well,
never landed on the moon.
It's a separate conversation.
Yeah.
But isn't TikTok still like communist China owned, or what? I know there's some debate about
It's
Yeah.
owned by
For sure.
subsidiaries of China,
Yes.
but they're all in a communist country. The government owns the private industry anyhow, doesn't it? To some extent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's no private industry in
Yeah.
China.
No,
I mean, that'd
nothing's
be.
ever come out of that. Weren't they trying to get TikTok to like hand over the app, or
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah.
Nothing.
But way too many
Fizzled?
people probably make money off of something to do with that. I feel like that didn't happen because everybody still has TikTok. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
I
I
mean,
think that they were wanting to sell it to a private company. Like they were going to put it
right.
up
They were
for
supposed to
bid.
divest or something.
Yeah, they were supposed to divest
Right.
to an American and or
Yeah.
another.
It was always a little bit weird though, because it also felt kind of like government overreach. I mean, not that I'm a big fan of
It was.
TikTok and Chinese like control, but I'm also like not a fan of the government having any amount of control over my life.
What it
So-
was, I think what it really came down to, they don't give a shit. I mean, look what they'll allow any American-owned app to take as much information out of your phone as possible.
Yeah.
What happened was the shareholders. I mean, it was competition with Facebook and Instagram, and so they got their buddies in Congress, and they said, "Hey, we got to put a stop to this." And they tried, but it was government overreach. It goes back to like they said they were doing it to protect us. Is the government ever really doing anything to protect us? I doubt it. They've got their own interest at hand.
I mean, we'll leave it for later, maybe, but should we talk about like the most governmental overreach story of the week?
Peanut.
I think that's his favorite thing, so we might want to wait.
R.I.P. Peanut.
It's not my favorite. I have a better favorite.
Oh, you have a
but
better favorite?
Yes.
Okay, then we can talk about Peanut.
Yeah, we could. That is.
I mean, who knew that the squirrel was going to win the meme game for the week?
Mhm.
Right?
I
It was a
know.
And
Good
be
meme.
like the epitome of everything wrong with the government was this poor innocent squirrel.
Right. I mean, yeah. Who thought a squirrel would galvanize the population to come together against government overreach?
Yeah.
Good week
If
at the
World War
media. We had
III
the squirrel. We had the trash truck. We had what's his face coming out and saying derogatory comments about women. Trump supporting women.
It's been a week.
Just MAGA women.
It's been a
Yeah.
week.
It's been a
Whew.
week. It's
Oh,
really
Mark
irritating.
Cuban. He looks more and more like Rachel Maddow every day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That comparison.
Trump and the
that
trash
comparison's
truck
great.
was my favorite thing though when they said the vest was slimming and he goes, "Oh,
That comes to save that.
That's
That comes to my
everything.
favorite. Don't worry. That comes to my favorite.
Also.
Yeah, but if the Second American Revolution does happen anytime soon after this, I think we know where it all started. It started with Peanut.
It started with Peanut.
It started
Yeah.
with Peanut."
R.I.P. Peanut.
And
I think
what
there's a
was the
petition,
dude's
but
name?
we can't bring Peanut back. Peanut's
No.
gone.
Yeah, Peanut's
That's
definitely
gone.
gone.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
It was sad.
All right. So if you're following along and newly joining us on our adventures, each week somebody gets nominated to create the main dish topic. And since not everybody in the room felt like the mental health of election stress was a great topic, we've shifted the topic this week to be chosen by Tara. So Tara's choice for the main dish this week is first world problems. So what would you like to offer as the thoughts and questions of the week, Tara?
I mean, I say round table it because I have my own personal first world problems that I want to complain about, but I know that everybody has theirs. So I can give you a quick rundown of what is consuming me most.
Please do.
And just
Please.
excuse me.
Can
I
we?
really
Yeah, let's
can't
talk.
I can't move this half, so you have to give me
Yeah,
a-
well,
Yeah, there's something. that's
maybe
going
you
on in
should
life
start,
today.
Tara, and tell the 5 people that may listen to this podcast that
What
are
happened?
watching you and see your face messed up, and then are listening to you and you're slurring. Tell them what's happening
I
here.
did not have a stroke or get bad lip injections. I had a tooth pulled. And so this half of my face is very numb and very swollen. And so I don't have like full motion at the moment. So I look a little crazy, but hopefully it'll subside quickly. I'm waiting till this
Just
is
don't
over to go take
chew on
lip
the inside
pills.
of your lip.
Do what?
Don't chew like on the inside of your lip.
Yeah.
And like that's like the bad. Ooh.
I haven't taken the
Mhm.
happy pills yet. I was waiting till this was over. So
Are you going to take those?
I'll feel really good for the rest of the night.
Oh.
So yeah, if you see me drool, just it's fine. Excuse me. All right, my first world problems. This is one I complain about to my husband probably multiple times a day. First world problem is just the apps and the subscriptions and the platforms that we have to keep track of. My kids, for instance, all 4 of them go to the same school. All of the sports teams that they are on, whether run through the school or outside of the school, are still with those same group of people. I have like 8 apps on my phone right now that I have to check and monitor and respond to, just so that I know what's going on in their classroom, with their sports team, with their club, whatever, have you. And it drives me crazy. I miss the days when a paper came home in their folder, or even an email. I could take an email at this point, but it's having to log in to all of the apps to find out. I just wish there was one app where we could, consolidate.
But and also the problem with the apps, other than also nobody uses the same consistent app, right?
Right.
So we've got like all these various, like everybody, it's like choose your own adventure. Oh, I like this one. Oh, I'm in this sports team. I like this one. In addition,
They cost money.
oh, okay, that's one. Why do some people not understand the app etiquette? Okay,
That's
like,
one of my other
hi,
issues, yes.
I understand that like you have real big pick me vibes, but like you don't have to talk about all of your personal interactions with Susie over here in a group chat that tings 16 times to my phone to tell me that like you took pictures of somebody else's kid at the game. Like I don't understand. People don't understand like why we're not supposed to have we're having public conversations and it's like between 2 people.
Group setting. Where
It sounds
notifications
terrible.
are going off. Yes, I do agree.
It's
Just like
constantly. It's
or
so dumb.
yeah. The chat
What?
etiquette, Kelly knows this because I complain to her about it all the time, but it drives me insane where it's like, hey, just letting you know their practice got changed from whatever time to whatever time. The person that posted that can see who all has seen that post. You don't have to reply. Got it. Thank you. Heart it. Like we saw it. We know you saw it. You know I saw it. Like let's just move on with our lives. Why are we all replying to it? Stuff like that
I would agree.
drives me crazy. But that's also like the level of intellect that we're dealing with in some people that they just
Yeah.
cues
I mean,
elude them.
I can't. I'm so glad I have no children that are using these apps anymore.
Yeah.
And if I get put into a group chat, I mean, y'all know, like I like leave it. I freaking hate the group chats. It
Why don't you
drives
just
me
drop
nuts.
a
Oh,
bomb
I,
and then
I,
leave
I
it?
can't stand group chats for that reason. My phone blows up enough. I don't need to read the misgivings of a couple other people.
Whoa. Wait a second, though. You are also the king of like, we
Yeah.
have a group chat on the back of Instagram with a DM. And like, how many DMs a day do we get from Kurt?
A lot.
You can
A
you can
lot of
thank me for
videos.
that.
You
They're
can-
filled, they're filled with tons of good stuff. I mean,
Having
I'm just
multiple
talking about
conversations with me throughout the
like
day.
what y'all are talking about. When I have friends throw me in a group chat for dinner plans, they throw me in a group chat on Monday for dinner plans on a Friday,
Yeah.
and then proceed to talk about it the whole week. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Text me individually. I leave every group chat I get put in. I leave automatically, and sometimes I'll even say something kind of like rude or uncouth, and then leave just to keep people wondering. And then they're like, "Is Kurt pissed?" And then they don't put me in a chat again. It's funny.
Brett, are you in any unrequested group chats that you want to leave? Or are you the
Generally,
creator of the said group chats?
yeah, generally not. I'm certainly not in the group chats that are. I probably just don't get invited. Like I'm not a bros bro like Kurt, so I'm not like getting added to a bunch of guy text
One of the
threads.
dudes, king of the dudes.
What about the messages from like the sports teams?
Yeah, you coach, so you should have a group chat.
Yeah, I don't though. I'll use the app, like for baseball it's Game Changer.
Yeah.
And I'll use that app to communicate. I don't do like text threads and everything, but I mean, there,
Sure, your pigeon
you can
sounds good
turn
to
off
me.
notifications if you want and never look at it, and then catch yourself back up if you're, I don't know. I keep my life simple, so I don't get involved in that.
Yeah, I
Why do they-
definitely used to mute the notifications on the sports group apps. I actually had a friend when Katie was a senior that quite literally, she knew that I didn't read the group chat in the app or whatever, and so she would like personally text me if it was something that required attention, like you need to bring a check tonight, and because there was like 42 messages in the group chat because we're all very confused about how it is we're supposed to just bring a check. I'm like, who do
Yeah.
I write a check to and for how much?
Are they all necessary? Like, what happened before apps?
You had to
We-
like call people, text people,
We had a phone chain. Yeah, if something changed. Also,
email.
but nothing, you didn't change things. I say this all the time with my kids, and like texting makes you not follow schedules.
Yeah,
It's because you can change the schedule at any given time. And you're just like, oh, I sent out a text about it. Oh yeah, I said I was going to be here at 2:00. By the way, I changed it to 2:30 at like 1:45. Like, well, who does that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So these apps have made people less accountable.
Yeah. So, I mean, it used to be like you would get, like Tara said, like you'd get a letter in the backpack and you'd be like, hey, on this date, we're doing this. And on this date, I'm doing this. And now it's like day of 14 changes. And you're literally like standing in your house, like, am I leaving? Am I staying? Are we going? What are we doing?
Also, just the accessibility that people feel that they have for you because they know you have a phone. They know that if they text you, you're going to see it. And then they just expect an immediate response, which is so infuriating to me. First of all, did it even warrant a response? Was it a question? Because if you don't text me a question, I'm not replying. You saw that, saw it. Enough said. Like, but the people get very upset and they don't understand that like some people are working, some people are busy, some people don't have time to be texting you back all day, every day to your every little whim that you want to text someone.
Some people don't want to send heart
So, like,
emojis
real
because you
life is
sent
not that
something.
important to me. I've got things going on. I don't have time to reply. And even if I did, I don't know that I want to because then you're going to send me another text in which I'm expected to reply to.
This culture exists a little bit in corporate America too, I will add. Like this is the same, Brett. Do you see this with like Teams or Slack of like there'll be like a group message sent out? I mean, I have this even in my own and it's like there'll be like 14 messages all around. And I'm like, you didn't all have to heart it. It was okay. Like it was just an FYI.
Yeah,
And you
I
can
mean, I
see-
see
you
some
get
of
the
it, but
urgency.
I think I mean, go on to the Nextdoor app, and if you want to understand people unfiltered, it's really not even unfiltered, right? Because
It's unhinged.
yeah, but I mean, how many times do you see like, what kind of snake is this? I heard gunshots. Like we get the gunshot one all the time. Like we heard gunshots at 3 a.m. Does anybody know anything? And this post is at like 3 a.m. and people are posting. And no, it wasn't a gunshot. Like it was a truck, or
Backfired.
no, that snake is not a cobra. It's a It's
I
a
have heard this
non-venomous
Nextdoor
rat
app is
snake,
wild.
you know.
Oh, it's lit, Kelly. Friday night entertainment.
Yeah, the
Wow.
Nextdoor app is like it's hilarious. I want to go on there and just troll people. And some people do, but then it's like out of the, conduct code of Nextdoor, so you
Right.
won't be allowed on the platform. But I mean, people are crazy.
Why do you need it?
You
be
don't.
nosy?
I mean, I don't have the app anymore. I just have it going to my email, and so I can like check it if I want to. But I think people just have it because they're lonely. I mean, you join it and it's like, hey, welcome. I think when it started, it was like connecting communities, like connecting neighbors to neighbors, and it pins you based on your location, and so it's trying to connect you to everybody within a certain radius of your zip code. And I think it had great intent, but really what it's turned into is yeah, people who are lonely, who need to talk to somebody. So they'll go on the Nextdoor app, not even a text message, and send a message intended to probably their neighbor across the street, you know? So,
Are you on Nextdoor, Kurt?
no, but you know what it is.
I know what it is, but no, I've never.
Yeah. Is there like an internal app in your apartment complex?
Yeah, we have a which I also never get on, but people post stuff on there all the time.
I don't have any neighbors, so I don't get on
Yeah,
Nextdoor, so nobody lives
your
close
next
to
door
me.
would be pretty lame, Cal.
Yeah.
Too far away.
You could get on like the Facebook group, Kelly, would be about the equivalent, like where they have those community groups. We have one in our town, and it is hilarious. People go on there and post about like they catch their spouse in an affair, and they're like posting pictures. Do you need this guy? Like
Oh
they're
my
catching them
gosh.
on the Ring camera. It's insane.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's our Friday night
again, and the
entertainment. We love it.
Ring camera, like again, I think that you add like problems to your life. Like everybody needs a Ring camera.
Everybody's got to have one.
Do you guys all have Ring
I don't have
cameras?
one. No.
I don't.
Okay.
I do have
Brett definitely
Brett
has one.
Yeah.
It doesn't it's not working. It never has. It's not Ring, but similar. And but we have cameras all around the house, inside and out, so you know.
We have deer cameras.
No.
Trail.
We do too, Tara.
I mean, we have
But they're nowhere near the house.
Property. Trail
we
cam.
we do we do like our exterior camera though, and it's actually been pretty helpful in some instances. I mean, we've had like random cars come up in the middle of the night and things stolen, and so like this past year we shared, our neighbors have one, we have one, and we were able to help the police with like the type of car and the people and everything. They were canvassing the neighborhood and stealing stuff out of unlocked cars, and so we were able to help them. So yeah,
we have good deterrent for unlocked cars around here.
That stuff happens, you know. Can never be too safe.
I mean, generally speaking, you're not going to roll up on us in the middle of the night.
Oh, but they will. They rolled up on us one time.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think so. I mean, not for you, Kel, but I mean, I live off the interstate in a little subdivision, and people find their way in here. So
yeah.
I don't think I'm going to spend any time on the Nextdoor app, though. It's probably about as bad as group text.
You wouldn't, but you would find it funny, though. You'd find it funny.
True. I mean, I definitely found funny, like, and this was years ago, but remember the website, The People of Walmart?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I feel like they created that in my town.
Right? You're correct. I have been to your Walmart, of which I don't even go to Walmarts. And I've been to the Walmart in Terrace Town, and like the whole thing was photographed in her town.
They're in like Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always a Florida man.
Always.
But like the outfits, have you seen this, Kurt? Had you ever seen The People of Walmart?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. like the people that just roll into Walmart wearing like God knows what,
Pajamas.
like as if this is acceptable
Yeah.
attire to wear outside of your bedroom.
Yeah.
Even in your bedroom, I'm not sure if it's acceptable attire.
No.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
just always find it surprising what grown adults will wear in public in the middle
In
of the
public.
day.
Yeah.
We have like
Yeah.
no what's the word? Not self-esteem.
Decorum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that. We just
decorum.
don't care anymore.
Self-respect more so. I think that is not part of the degradation of society in the lower class. They don't have any self-respect for themselves anymore, so they feel it completely appropriate to wear, SpongeBob booty shorts and whatever to Walmart with all their stuff hanging out,
All of the stuff hanging out.
all the stuff hanging out.
I do also wonder if some people own mirrors.
Mm. If they did, Kel, they're not concerned. So what
I
else?
mean-
What else you got, T? What else is your
Yeah.
modern
Keep
inconveniences?
it moving.
Oh, I mean, I feel like I covered my major ones that are bothering me at the moment. I could probably come up with a million, like things that irk me throughout the day. My Starbucks app. I hate like if I order ahead and I go inside. I mean, because I'm spoiled. So this is a modern convenience that I have. And then I walk inside to pick it up, and the people that are just pulling through the drive-through are getting their drink well before I ever get mine. Things like that irk me every day. Like, why do we have these modern conveniences if they're not actually all that convenient?
But the Starbucks thing's real though. But if you have to do the call ahead, but now the app gives you, the amount of time before your drink's going to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think in general, the drive-through lines are always going to be quicker because it's, I think it's like a separate crew that's just doing
Yeah, they
drive-through,
prioritize that drive-through for sure.
and they're keeping the line going. And so, yeah, if you go inside, even if there's no line, you're going to wait
Mhm.
longer.
But they incentivize you to use the app and order through the app. You get more stars that way. There's like more perks. And then
But you can go through the drive-through
And
and
order
order on
ahead.
the
I
app,
know, but
right?
sometimes I'm like, I'll do them a favor. I won't hold up the line. I'll go inside because we're a Starbucks right off the interstate. So it's a very busy drive-through. And I try to think like I'm going to be a good citizen and I'm going to go inside. I'm not going to keep wrapping the line around. And I'll be one of the other two people that actually enter into this Starbucks facility.
There's like Starbucks going to like all drive-through though. I think the drive-through
Yeah.
concept, I think they're learning it from Chick-fil-A. Like the all drive-through concept is like kicking butt.
Okay,
Yeah,
but Chick-fil-A,
COVID changed the dynamic, I think, of drive-through as well.
Chick-fil-A drives me crazy also. Modern convenience. They have mastered the art of the drive-through. However, I am not a frequent Chick-fil-A person. So I hate when I go and they're just standing out there with their little board, their little iPad, and there's no menu for me to look at. I have no clue what I want to order. Like I need to see it ahead of time when I'm going through the drive-through like it used to be. So I have a minute to decide what do I want. I feel like it's an interrogation as soon as you pull up and they're right there like, okay, what will you have? Writing it down. I'm like, I don't know. Can I have a minute? Like I just get really anxious. It stresses me out.
How do you
I
not?
mean-
how do you not know what you want when you pull up Chick-fil-A though?
I don't go there very often.
I mean, they haven't.
I mean, it's chicken.
haven't
They only
changed-
serve
I know,
I
chicken.
don't think they've changed their menu, and they add like one seasonal thing, maybe.
I feel like panic because every
You-
other drive-through you go through, you can see a menu ahead of time.
Okay, but there's really
I mean, it's like
four options.
chicken sandwich, chicken nuggets, grilled chicken.
Yeah, exactly. You
I
you
like
have
to
a
switch it
sandwich or
up,
nuggets. Do you want them grilled, or do you want the original? There it is. You got it.
Fries or fruit.
I ordered a salad the other day when we went, and I asked them if the chicken was warm on the salad, which it is not. So then I asked them if they would warm it up. I swear to God, Jeremy was like, "Go get in another vehicle."
Oh my gosh.
I've think it's a drive.
Yeah, that's
They
embarrassing.
warmed up my chicken and it was beef. I had a little saliva with it, but I didn't care.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. What's next?
What's some of your complaints? I know you have some first world problems.
Not really. The only thing that really grinds my gears is when I order Postmates. On Sundays I like to just be lazy and not really leave the apartment much because I'm usually hungover. So my Postmates, when it doesn't come all the way to the door, when they can't figure out, and mind you, I'm paying for the delivery service fee and the tip, and when they can't figure out like where to park, when they're just lazy about it, I get so pissed off. I'll change the tip. I'll give them no tip if they refuse to like bring it up the elevator, actually park their car, walk inside the building, have the concierge buzz them up. If they refuse or they're just too, I can tell they'll call and I can just tell they're too lazy to like find a parking spot. And I'm like, figure it out. It's still a job. I know it's not the most glamorous job, but it's still a job. You should still take it seriously. You're delivering food, and you should take the effort to do that. And so when they don't, that irks me. Then I usually
Is Postmates like DoorDash?
Yeah.
DoorDash,
Grubhub,
yeah,
yes.
delivery service,
Gotcha.
whatever. And or when they come and they're like, I can't find your building. I'm like, then you shouldn't do this job if you can't find a building uptown and can't figure out where to park. You know what I mean? It's like
We
kind
have
of the
this
point
thing
of the
called
service.
GPS on our phones and our cars
Yeah,
nowadays.
exactly. It's
Also
not
a first world
difficult.
problem.
It's not difficult. People do it. I mean, you should see how many. I'd actually would love to talk to my concierge and see how many deliveries come per day, food deliveries. It's funny on Sunday, like I'll go walk the dog and I'll just see like delivery driver after delivery driver just flooding through the building.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my only complaint, that when these apps and services, even Uber and stuff, and it's probably one of the only reasons why I order Uber Black is because of it's the quality of service. You're actually getting a driver. So some of these apps I think have just, yes, they've become convenient for us, the end user, but the people actually doing the job, they're not qualified by any means. They don't take it seriously. I mean, you like order a regular Uber and it shows up smelling like, a cat or a dog, or there's freaking toys in the back from the kids. It's like, what are you doing? You're taking the job as a driver. You should act like a driver. So
I've never had that experience with Uber though. I always have like such good Uber experiences.
Oh no! I'll only order blacks or SUVs just so I know what I'm getting.
I think it has to do with where you're living. We don't have great Uber experiences where we live there, and we don't have Uber Black, Kurt, because we're not a big enough market unless they've recently changed it. But
Okay.
we get the car full of weed smell, the dirty, and when we're using Uber, Shannon and I don't go out much. So when we're going out and we're going to Uber, it's like we're going out to a nice dinner or, and
so you want a nice car to pick you up.
Yeah. And, Shannon's always in a dress and it's like she does it. The car is so dirty, you don't even want to get in it. So, yeah.
You're still paying for a service. You're still a customer.
You're still paying for a service, and the people that are working, you're still working a service. So I think it just comes to a lack of like, maybe, and maybe part of the problem is that people have become very nonchalant about stuff. They're just accepting of it. So nothing ever gets done. It's like, maybe too many people say with Postmates, for example, too many people are like, oh, it's okay, I'll run downstairs. Fuck that. I'm not running downstairs. I just paid you whatever, a $6 delivery fee plus another $5 for a tip. It's your job to bring it up to my door. I don't want to run downstairs if I don't have to. That's why I'm paying for it. And so many people, I think, are just like complacent with bad or nominal service that they get away with it. And then, service becomes worse. And I think the same thing with Uber. Like, not enough people are like hold a higher standard because like, oh, it's a rideshare app, whatever, who cares? Yeah, it is. But also there should be some level of professionalism involved.
Well,
isn't it also possibly that we've diminished? So, I mean, generally speaking, like if I'm working in a job where I'm getting a tip or I have to earn a tip, then I'm going to go like above and beyond,
Mhm.
because
I
like
know where you're going with this.
when I used to wait tables, it'd be like, man, if I hustled and I would, kill it and I was nice to the customers, then I would get a really great tip, and it didn't take that much effort. You just like refill their glass once. But now we become so accustomed to like tipping for crap that we shouldn't be tipping for.
Yes.
When it was like, I hate now when I get like asked to tip at like a walk up food. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I walk up to Panera and they're like, "Do you want a tip?" And I'm like, "What did you do for a tip?" Like or half the time, like I punched my own order in on an app,
Yeah.
and
That's the-
then you're
that's the
still
thing,
asking
yeah.
me for a tip. And I'm like, I mean, I know the job was that you had to put my food together, but I think you get paid for that by the hour.
Yeah.
And then I'm supposed to tip you just why? It's just like another way to like make everything more expensive.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
whole application ordering is like a problem of why we shouldn't have minimum wage, because we've eliminated entry level jobs. But anyway,
That actually probably that probably grounds my gears more than the Postmates not coming up. The the overstated tip culture that we have. So there is a coffee shop now that I used to go to, used to love, and COVID killed it. And they really, in my opinion, have never. It's not the coffee shop it was anymore. So the coffee's still the same. They barely let people inside. People just got weird after COVID with certain businesses. So they built a walk up window, but now there's not even a person in the walk up window. You literally walk up and you put your own order in, which takes more time. There's always a line now because people can't
yeah,
figure out they can't figure it out. They're not as quick as the cashier. And then it still asks you for a tip. And the first time it did, I literally was so annoyed. And knocked on the window. I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, hey, why did you put this out here? This takes so much longer. Now you're asking for it. I was just like, I was just having a bad morning. It just pissed me off, but it's so ridiculous. But then they'd have the nerve to ask for a tip after I just had to punch in my own order. Exactly. What are you doing? I know your baristas are making, they're making a wage. I mean, they're not making like servers back there, where they rely on tips. So
Well, I think the overall though, with like all of these businesses, and, and this is where I think Chick-fil-A has, I mean, they've become the standard. And if you're in that business, in the food business, you talk about Chick-fil-A and some of those principles they have, but it's just the convenience nature. Like I feel like we're in a decade of convenience, and this is what happened with Starbucks too, right? Like a great product, and at the time was seen as a more expensive premium product, and it still is expensive, but it's really just been more convenience oriented. To your point, Kelly, like we're going to put more drive-throughs in, and all
Yeah.
that does is diminish the premium experience that those kind of loyal customers want. And so it's tough, especially if you're going to go into the public markets where you're just being driven down to like sell more product, increase your margin, and all these different pressures, rather than being a principled luxury or premium service or offering, to where you just charge people more, right? Like if you need
100%.
that tip, to get your people excited to come every day, and they're counting up the tip that somebody may or may not have given on the automatic 15% that shows up. Like, just pay your people more. Now it means probably less people come, and so you've got to make that margin up elsewhere. Obviously, we see this in the kind of luxury handbag market, right? And
Brett's favorite thing.
yeah, and there's been a lot of new entrants, kind of in the quote luxury market, that aren't luxury. They're trying to offer a lower end product, at a lower end price.
Affordable
But
luxury.
yeah, so I think it's just like the struggle. I hope the next decade looks a little bit different, to where I think if we all added up like the convenience dollars we spend, And then plus the tipping and everything else. And then if somebody offered you, take the 20 convenience items and narrowed it down to 3, but they were more premium and more expensive. Like somebody's actually going to deliver that food, Kurt, to your door and like wait there until you come get it from them, but you're paying a little bit more. The chances are you're probably coming out in a wash. Like you're just reducing the amount of, to your point, Tara, all the apps, like reduce the amount of apps, find the really good ones. It's premium. Maybe you're paying for that subscription now rather than a free subscription, all of those kind of measures. But I think the market struggled with that because it's been this race to go public. And I think that race has been mainly driven by the same types of investors that are seeding these companies. And then they obviously want their, first round of seed capital paid back. And some of the ways to do that is to take a company public. And so I think we're in this like weird cycle. And you're seeing it now with Starbucks with a new CEO. They're going to see if they can change that around. I think it's going to be hard.
They said you're not going to pay for extra special milk now.
Which I'm very excited about.
Right.
You're very excited about.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, Brett. I think this is a problem in the market, and everybody's so it's really just a hidden way also to just pass on an additional cost to the consumer without holding some of these corporate structures accountable for the fact that they're just probably underpaying. Like they've made people a commodity, right?
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, well, I just have to have a job where I pay an absolute minimum wage. And so I'm going to basically make it as few people as possible. And then if I just offer the end consumer to pay a tip, these people might feel like they get more money instead of saying, what if I just had a more premium product, charged more for it, didn't incentivize the consumer? There would be a whole grouping of consumer, but I had also a premium experience.
Yeah.
Like I had an over the top customer experience, kind of like the Chick-fil-A. Like,
Right.
do I care if a Chick-fil-A meal is $1 more than whatever? I don't know where else you would go, but like, no, because you always get like a higher consumer experience.
Yeah.
So even if they jack their prices $1,
It wouldn't change.
you wouldn't care. You'd be like, I still want to go to that premium experience versus, I don't know, like the McDonald's that you're ordering off a kiosk and being asked to tip on a $2 hamburger, I guess, if that's what it is. I don't even know. But
yeah, no, I think it's interesting. And I mean, I haven't analyzed it, but we're consumers in the household. Kids are consumers. And it feels like just the same thing with all the apps, subscription services and everything. Like I would be more inclined to pay for the premium product, the paid for subscription. Kelly, you probably see this in your business, like the turbo taxes versus like a boutique tax service, right? It's like, what do you want? Like the free version, where you're going to get pushed ads but I guess my point is, by the time you're done going through that, what I'll call normalized experience today of like convenience and these added tips and added service charges and all these things, if you just elected to do the paid for subscription or the paid for premium product, and you limited the amount of those services that you subscribe to, you're probably ending up paying the same amount of money, and you're just getting a better service, better customer experience. And so some of that is just on us as consumers. We saw it with COVID. We just love consuming. And
so true.
Right. And then, and we're all very like ADD as well. And so you sign up for one thing this month and it was cool. And then you're kind of done with it, but you don't cancel. And so, it's still on your bill every month and you forget about it because you're on to the next thing. So I think that's also,
yeah, you never even use what you paid for.
Yeah, it's also tough to run a business too when the consumers aren't as loyal as they've been in probably past. And so that's also driving their business decisions to be kind of more economical,
But that's where people are missing. How do you create loyal customers? How
Yeah.
do you create raving fans?
Well, I think
You create it by exceptional service or
Yeah,
an
good
exceptional
service.
product, or
Yeah,
you
Well-
create it by being exceptional, and then you have raving fans who are like, I love you because you're so much
I
better.
think there was, it's a catch-22. There was no, because we're, like Brett said, we're such large consumers. There was no need for some of these companies to even be exceptional. It was just for them to be convenient, and that's where I think we've lost exceptional service, because we as consumers have not demanded more from our app companies and all the convenient companies that have really, a lot of stuff really boomed in COVID because of the convenience. And it goes back to my point, like, I don't care what your job is, you should still do your job well. I don't care if it's delivering food or driving an Uber car, whatever. It's still a job. You should still have some pride in it and do it well. And there's no shame in it either.
No.
I mean, there's no shame in doing any of that work. It's whatever. It's good money. I mean, people can make good money bouncing around doing that. And those are the people I love. I will say, when I have a very professional delivery service and or Uber that really goes above and beyond, I mean, it's amazing, but they're few and far between.
Well, I think this
Well,
goes back to,
yeah, that's
though, to,
American exceptionalism is lost, right?
Yeah, well, this kind of covers across the economy, but this is why everyone should be, I think, very wary of these products or services that their pitch is basically to undercut their competitors. And you should be very wary on, like, how are they undercutting their competitors, and is that a good model? And we're seeing it, I mean, widely, right, across just like consumable products, that the pitch isn't I have something better or something unique. It's that I have something cheaper and I'm just copying the next person.
Dupe
It makes it
culture.
really tough for a business. But I also think on the flip side, new businesses today appear to be, starting with a target, demographic or a target, number of customers they think they can reach. And then their plan is to just grow that, just grow the amount of customers, grow the amount of subscribers. And as y'all know, I love the luxury, leather market. And but there's something to be learned with what some of these long-standing luxury brands have done. I mean, when the market starts growing for them, when people start buying more and more of their stuff, they raise their prices so that less people buy their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are catering to a certain set of people, and they make the math work on their end that way. And so it's to the point of, like, if Chick-fil-A wants to charge me more so that if the line gets to where you're waiting 15 minutes to get your food, and that's outside of where their mission is or the type of service that they want to offer, like, wouldn't it be a bold move for a company to say, okay, we're going to raise it by whatever it is, $2 a sandwich now. And we think that line's going to go from 15 minutes now down to 3. And we're okay with that. And we'll take some backlash for it, and people won't like us for it. But you know what? The people who love us, want to support us, have their kids working for us, their communities want us there, they will pay us the extra $2. And that's a great business decision. But that is not applauded in corporate America today, to take that path. It's all about the more subscribers, the more people you can serve, the more product, the lower the cost. And I think we've lost a little bit of that right now.
And that's probably that's probably the problem exactly right there. It's you've got the corporate model and the investment model, the pump and dump model, taking precedent over your quality goods and service model, like of an era past, So
well, and that's why I said, I mean, I think that's why small business America, Main Street America, is still remains, because if you're more invested in your local community, you find that you'll create more strong loyalty to you, because we just have to keep talking about it, and not everything shouldn't come from Amazon and get shipped here. And we're creating our own problem. It's
Yeah.
like, stop consuming all of this garbage from
Mhm.
China.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, but it's so cheap. Well,
It's so
maybe the
convenient.
answer shouldn't be buy the cheapest every single time.
Yeah.
You know, save up your money and buy the more premium product, but also you're supporting your local mom and pop that's out doing it. They're paying their people fair wages. They're employing people in your community. Like Brett said, they're employing your kids if it's a,
Right.
restaurant or something. Like, be exceptional, charge a little bit more for it. And there are people out there like us that would say, I would rather pay for exceptionalism than mediocrity any day of the week. We have to stop demonizing exceptionalism, though.
Yeah.
We definitely demonize exceptionalism as if that's somehow like a trait to be
Yes.
disdained.
And even we celebrate the mediocre, right? And that's almost kind of my original point about we've created the issue because people don't expect more out of their simple services or out of their
Right.
because it's just convenient, and they don't hold them to a high standard because it's, oh well, it's like they did good enough for them to not be upset about it. And it's like, why do we not expect more out of people?
Yeah.
I mean, for ourselves even.
Yeah.
And even I sometimes, I'm like, oh well, like it's probably just like a second job, whatever. I don't want to give that person a hard time, but if you don't, then they will never change, or like they will never know a higher expectation. It's almost on us societally to raise the standards.
Yeah, but how do
Yeah,
you do
and
that without being a
it
dick?
offends people.
Well,
That's the problem.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like, we're the consumer. So I agree with Kurt.
Yeah.
Like, if like the consumer drives the preferences, the decisions, of good companies. And Wall Street's control over a lot of these brands and chains and everything is really to the extent that the consumer is kind of going along with those
Going along with the
decisions,
precedent.
right, that
Yeah.
are made. And so if the consumers, and look, there are things that you want to be convenient, that you want to be cheap, and that you're happy to shop around for, like, that's great. And there is certainly a lot of people who benefit from the kind of robust competition that's that's in the retail space, that's in grocery stores and the Walmarts and Targets of the world. Like, that's all great. But I just think we have to be cognizant of the longer term impacts of that type of culture will have, of just undercutting the next thing and sacrificing the quality of a product or where it comes from. I mean, we're seeing how in this election, the border is the number one, issue, or one of, the top issues. And, it's like, well, why is that? It's like, okay, well, people don't want large amounts of illegals in their community. They don't want the crime that comes with it. They don't want, you can come up with any myriad of reasons, but we don't really take that same tone when it comes to any specific consumable product. Where did it come from? Is this good? Do we want this much of it? Is this a foreign country dumping this into to our country to gain some type of advantage? And if it is, or if we're questioning that, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And so we should take that same amount of scrutiny to the things that we consume on a daily basis as well. And I'm not great at it. I mean,
Well, it requires us to take action on our behalf, because shocker, the government isn't coming to save you. And so anybody that's out there thinking that we should crack down from a governmental perspective is like, unfortunately, that's never going to be the right choice because that erodes personal liberties. But the very hard part is that we, the consumer, do have a choice, and we just have to say no. So we have to say, no, I don't need 14 $2 items from Amazon to be delivered overnight to my house. I just need one, and I have to wait to get a higher quality product.
Yeah.
Well,
Agreed.
I do like my Amazon Prime though.
Me too.
I know,
But
but you know,
I do wish they made it a little bit easier though, to like highlight in the preferences, like locally
Oh
owned
yeah.
business.
that's not their incentive.
And I think it's in there in the app, but it's not like very prominent, that like when you're clicking on something and you know how it works in Amazon, like if you're looking for a little widget, they're all around the same price, right? And it's just they're coming from all these different people. It's really hard to discern which widget didn't all come from the same place, because a lot of these are just resellers on the Amazon marketplace, and so they're buying bulk from probably the same manufacturer in China, and then they're reselling it in Amazon. And so when you pull up like I want paper clips, all these people are going to have the same paper clips, and a couple of them may look a little bit different, but they're all these different businesses. The paper clips are all coming from the same place. They're all putting the same margin on it. But wouldn't it be nice if you're clicking, it's like the top 3 things up there is like this paperclip $6, this paperclip $7, this one's $6, just like that one. But this one's local business owned, made in the USA. Like how many more clicks would that $7 one get than the $6?
It might, but who's buying $7 paper
I'm just
clips?
making an example, Kelly.
Oh, I thought there were some like really big paper clips I was missing out on.
Good, the best paper clips.
The best.
Most of that
Okay.
stuff's drop shipped anyways. There's not like
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they're all drop shippers.
Yeah.
All right. So we're on conspiracy tea this week. We're gonna stay a little bit lighter than last week's topic. Tara has brought a fabulous conspiracy that's really not such a conspiracy. But what happened to you this week, Tara, that you want to share?
I don't remember what happened to me. My iPhone?
You said that you talked about buying a new sofa, and then your phone started recommending sofas to you.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot what my own notes were. So my conspiracy, I mean, I think that it is like the common joke that everybody makes, like, oh, don't say that too close to your phone. Your phone, your phone might hear it, or the government's listening. And so, because I'm not quite the conspiracy theorist that Kurt is, but that is one that I definitely believe in, that whatever you say within 6 feet of a device that is registered to your name, immediately when you open up that phone or that computer, those things are popping up. It is the craziest thing. The algorithm is one thing, because I feel like that picks up like what you're searching for, but to have things pop up that you've never even like plugged into your phone and were just picked up in a conversation is wild to me.
Totally terrifying too.
Well, kind of, yes.
Yeah, because it's listening. And then you're like, wait, I was just like, we're all going to have sofas on our phones.
We will
now when we get off
more
here.
Terrifying is how they're saying it'll be able to pick up brain waves sooner than later if they already can't.
Brainwave.
And Brett might be able to talk more on that. He's more studied on all the artificial intelligence and all things technology.
Well, I mean, you got Elon's like Neuralink, but I think that's what you're talking about, something different. I don't.
That's a little creepy to me too. Not a big fan of that.
No, that was to my point last conversation. We need less technology, and honestly, everything we just talked about is a symptom of bad technology, I think. I don't know, just unuseful technology, unnecessary technology, maybe. I mean, not bad technology, just unnecessary.
Yeah, you have to take the good with the bad. It's like the technology is good, but then in other ways it's bad.
Yeah, well, it really,
Yeah,
the
it's
a double-edged
great, but
application.
sword.
don't sleep with your phone next to your bed at night because
Mm-hmm.
it's rotting your brain cells.
Yeah,
And
we don't know.
Also, I could only imagine what yours says in the morning then, Tara.
what mine says in the morning?
If it's listening to you overnight.
Oh, we don't do that at night, Kelly. We're daytime.
We're daytime.
We like a little afternoon snack.
Well, there has been instances.
No sex at night?
Tara's sofa thing
Night,
is
nobody still sleeps
interesting.
in the bed with us.
Oh, good Lord.
I think the sofa thing happens more often than not with products. I mean, it's happened to Shannon and I where we'll be talking about something and one of us will get something and Shannon will look at me or I'll look at her. This is hours or maybe a day later. Like, were you looking for that on your phone? Because I got an ad on my phone. I said I wasn't looking for any of that. Now, so when the only way I'm able to rationalize it, if I'm saying there's no way somebody's listening to me on my phone, and there's no application that I have on my phone that I don't have selected certain preferences that they can't. So I'm assuming there's no nefarious action going on. I think of like
Broad assumption.
yeah, assumption. Maybe a bad one. Then I think of like billboards. Okay. Billboards everywhere. You drive down the highway, probably the most common billboard you're going to see is a car wreck billboard. Call 999 to 999, something like this.
Oh,
George
for the
Think
attorneys.
For the
Inquiry Lawyer.
attorneys. Yeah, the attorneys love
Yeah.
the billboards.
Yeah.
And you got to think they understand probably some of that social science there of like why spend all that money on billboards, and billboards are not cheap. I have a little experience there, and it's got to be right. Like you subconsciously, you see these things in your day-to-day life everywhere you go. And people are advertising for you. So there may be that sofa that's there that it's there. It may have always been there. You scroll right by it. You're not in the market for a sofa. But as soon as you're in that car wreck, as soon as you need that support or help, or you need that sofa, boom, it's been there the whole time. Your brain is just not picking up on it because you can only consume so much information, and the subconscious is there though. And it's like, how many times can you be like, oh yeah, there's like that, I remember seeing this thing, what is that? Like, that's what they're trying to capture with, I think, a lot of the advertising that is out there. You'll pass it 100 times, but in the time that you're in the market, you'll remember that sign, you'll remember that sofa, you'll remember whatever it may be, and it's going to be there for you. It's going to pop
This
up.
is a thing. So there's an actual like word for it. It's called your reticular activating system.
Tell me more.
And it's like, so it's like it's exactly that, right? So it's the idea that, let's say I really want to buy a black car of a specific brand, right? And I want to buy this like, I want to buy my G-Wagon. I don't actually want a G-Wagon, but I want to buy, this G-Wagon, and you think like, I will be so special, and I never see one on the road. And then as soon as you start looking, or you go buy it, and then you like get on the road and literally you drive by a G-Wagon and you're like, wait, I haven't even seen any of these around town. And all of a sudden, like everywhere you look is this same vehicle. Yeah. And so the concept, is like, you see, it's called the reticular activating system. So yeah, that's a thing.
I totally think that's it. I mean, it's
you think that's it. It's not nefarious. You don't think the phones are listening to us?
Well, so I do think
Quirt, what do you think?
I think it's a bit of both, and I think that Brett's right. Yes, and you're both right with sure, when you are thinking of something, you then see it more often, whatever phrase you just said. But I mean, a quick Google search here and it'll pull up a couple articles on it. But one that should probably, you got Norton, who talks about it, the antivirus, and is my phone listening to me? Yes, here's why and how to stop it. So, you got all your Siri or your Google Assist that constantly have the microphone on. That way, if you call upon them, they're going to listen to you. So they're always listening. Now, what they do with that information, who knows? But then you have all those other apps that you download that request your camera access, your microphone access, etc. And a lot of those are the ones that are taking your information and then using it, selling it for advertising. So they do have apps to block that stuff now.
Yeah.
Are they watching you while you scroll TikTok?
Oh, absolutely. Your iPhone takes a picture of you every like couple seconds while you're on it. So now what are they doing with that information? Who knows? They say there's, so it can help with facial recognition. I thought the dumbest thing, the most crazy thing during COVID was when, because, we had to mask everybody, when they then enhanced the technology to be able to identify you by wearing a mask on your iPhone.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
what are they doing with that? And how are they using that information? I mean, it's just like there's so many things that could have.
So that's just all eyeballs, right? So all they're scanning then would be your eyeballs.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And maybe
Minority
your
Report.
hairline.
We would all look the same.
We
No,
would all.
it's Minority
I mean,
Report.
retina scanning, but what it's doing is it's enhancing.
Mine might be the biggest.
It's enhancing their technology and their database to then, I mean, if Apple is to divulge any of that information to, say, the NSA or whoever, right? Their database is already massive just from all the pictures we put of ourselves in public, right? There was this great quote. It said what George Orwell didn't think about was we would be the ones holding the camera. And it's like we're the ones putting all these pictures and our faces up there for a database to collect and to be able to recognize us anywhere. I mean, we could never, none of us ever could slip away. You'd have to have a technology to do that.
This is true.
We can never get. I mean, you can never get off the grid. There's cameras everywhere. Most of them are all tied in together. That we found that article on the new AI software that basically can find your face in any picture. I'm not talking about pictures that you have even posted or tagged in. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if you're in the background, like you're just in a park and somebody took a picture of them and has it posted, it'll find you. How scary is that? If it's on the internet, it can find it.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move into our favorite things now of the week. So, new favorite thing. Let's get this started with Brett this week. Let's keep this quick and to the point, people. What is your one favorite this week, Brett? No 10-minute dissertation on the rocket.
Golly. I mean, I was trying to educate people on the rocket. Okay.
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, Tara didn't know what the rocket was.
Informative.
Okay, Cal, I'll keep it short and sweet.
I'm here to learn,
This week I have been interested in the evolution of Chris Cuomo. And
It
like,
is crazy.
I mean, I'm telling you, this is something like this. And when Chris was on CNN, I didn't not like him. But I don't watch much media in the first place. But he was clearly pretty biased and outwardly biased because he was in an organization that endorsed that. And then he's had to try to reinvent himself. And he's been on this long road to reinvent who Chris Cuomo is. And I feel like he's at a good place right now where he's getting applauds from the right, from the left. He's trying to, be this center guy, although he's, left of center. And I'm just fascinated. So I'm going to keep figuring out who this Chris Cuomo guy is. He's still evolving as a personality, and I'm interested.
Do you think he's evolving or surviving?
Well, it's a great point, Kurt. I'm being gracious with the evolution comment. He certainly initially was surviving. That was, I think, very clear. And he went on some podcasts and it was a huge failure miserably because the internet never ends. And so you can always pull up the clip of Chris Cuomo talking about COVID and some of the stuff that he disagreed with while he had a microphone. And then he would go on podcasts and try to be reasonable with people about like, well, yeah, that didn't make sense. And people are like, yeah, but you said that, like, you know, and comments he made about Joe Rogan and other people. And so,
Horse tranquilizer.
yeah, so he was
Yeah.
certainly surviving, and I'm seeing now that maybe he's past the survival mode. So he just did that town hall this past week where he had people from the right and left all on for a period of hours, and I guess he's on Newsmax now.
Yeah.
Is it?
And he
I think
got
it's News
News
Nation.
Nation. Sorry, News Nation, not
Yeah.
Newsmax. That's something completely different. News Nation.
Yeah.
And he got a ton of viewers, and he was like, you could tell he was very happy about it. He was very happy about the success he had with this thing. And I feel like the more that he can, that people react to him positively, of like trying to actually be a unbiased, you know,
Journalist?
media reporter, even though he has his own personal bias. That's okay. We all do. That, and as long as we like reward him for that and watch him and give him kudos, like maybe he's, I don't know, I'm just saying, could be like Chris Cuomo could be leading a new movement in journalism, perhaps, of like, here's what you can do to be nonpartisan and still have your own views and your own bias. So we'll see. It's the beginning, but
I
like it. Well, he got eaten by his own. I mean,
Yeah,
and that's what happens.
Stumbled, you know,
It's
and he
all the
had to-
disaffected liberals that are like, wait a second, I followed all your rules and then I got eaten by my own.
yeah.
I mean, and the right does this sometimes too, but it's like, you know what? Like there's a lot
Fucker.
less, you know, yeah. And then so now he's like, wait a second, I can maybe have a rational opinion and be more
Yeah.
just centrist. And unfortunately, one side might be more accepting of that than the other, but
Yeah, well,
I still
we'll leave
like
that
my
to be.
silver fox though, Anderson
I'm,
Cooper.
oh God,
Oh my God.
Anderson.
I'm not as quick to forgive and forget. I mean, these people
Preach
are
that he's bipartisan.
Yeah, right. These people are responsible for so many bad things, and I don't know if you can hold them directly responsible. I mean, yes, when they influence people as strongly as they do. So I wouldn't give him that big of a break yet. Well, time will tell. I mean, maybe he had an epiphany. Maybe maybe he
To me,
realized
he
that
appears broken.
People can change.
People
We
can
have to
change. I
always
mean-
give people grace for change, though.
Yeah, that's true. Mark Twain.
If they
has a great-
change, we have to give them grace.
Mark Twain has a great quote: "When you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to reevaluate." And maybe he realized, okay, who am I agreeing with here at this point?
Kurt with all the good nuggets, good quotes today.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying he's doing something that other news networks aren't and can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate the CNN talking heads as much as I hate the Fox News talking
Yeah.
heads. I
I
mean,
like a more
it's
centrist voice.
they're all
Yeah, they're all bad.
they're all just full of bullshit. And I mean, people are so dumb. This is my last rant, Kel, and then you can move on. But look, if you sit down and you watch one talking head for the 30-minute or hour, I don't know how long they give them. I don't sit down and ever watch them. But if you did, you'd see that over the course of that 30 minutes or an hour, they talk about like 20 different topics, right? The economy, the this, and that. And we're all sitting there supposed to be taking them as like some subject matter expert. I mean, have you ever met somebody that knows that much about everything and is right about all of these different topics, and then puts a panel together to confirm their point, and they put of the 5 people on the panel, there'll be one dissenter, right? There'll be one person that doesn't align, and the other ones are all just confirmation bias. And we, as the consumer of that media, just got dumber. Like we just hook, line, and sinker. Now all of a sudden, whoever it is the smartest person in the world. They spend all their days just prepping on what they're going to say. They didn't go read anything about, what's going on in the economy or what's going on with this or that. They're reading a teleprompter. All of these guys go after the teleprompter. They're all reading a teleprompter on TV, telling you what to think, confirming it with their confirmation bias spokespeople in their fake little, sit around the round table type discussion. Just
Well, and if you watch them in like multiples,
yeah,
they're
there's
all saying the same thing.
they're all saying the
Exact
same
same
thing.
thing.
Like there's lots of media sites that track them all, and like the talking points when you put them all together are like literally the same words.
Yes.
Like when the JD Vance is weird thing,
Yeah.
like
JD
that
Vance
became
is weird.
JD Vance is weird.
Like keywords that they need to incorporate every time.
And it
Well,
just was like everybody's like, oh, JD Vance is weird. JD Vance for a whole week.
Yeah.
Everybody
I know.
just said JD Vance was weird. I mean, it was
But
like,
can't we just call like a spade a spade? Like the right media can't go after Kamala for using a teleprompter when none of the right media can talk without one.
100%.
I mean,
and that just goes back to the idea anyhow that both are bad. That's why back to last podcast, like we need to source our information from Joe Rogan's, like independent journalists who just have open conversations and allow people to think for themselves. Because if you do follow the Mockingbird media, and that's why they call it the Mockingbird media, aside from the point that it was a CIA operation, it's called that because they get the same memo that comes down from the same corporation that owns all of them. Right, they get the same memo and then they put it in, and it's like the same corporations. They own the right and the left. It's not just one sided. And then they make us think that there's two sides, but really, if at all, it's just to manipulate and pin one side against the other. But I mean, it's all controlled.
stop
It's all
watching
controlled.
mainstream media. That's
Stop
back to
watching
the
media.
consumer conversation we had earlier. If you want to
There
change
you
the
go.
way, and that's why I brought up Cuomo, and that's why I'm saying you should maybe watch and listen to him, because if you want to change the dialogue between mainstream media and how we're all led to confirm our own biases, and now we're all experts because so and so talking head must be the most intelligent human being ever, and so the only job that they could get as the smartest person in the world is to be a show host. Like, come on. So give Cuomo a shot.
Okay.
Maybe he's coming
I
around.
like it,
Maybe
Brett.
he can change
We've been
something. Maybe
watching
this
him
is
too.
the
I
beginning.
appreciate him.
We'll invite him on as a guest,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brett.
we'll see if he wants to be on.
Maybe we'll have a
All right.
Saul DePaul moment here. We'll see.
All right, Tara, you're up. What is your one favorite this week?
Okay, my favorite thing this week is the new Martha documentary on Netflix that just came out. I mean, she's my icon. She's my inspiration. I love her. But
Oh, Martha
who?
Stewart.
Martha Stewart, yes.
Oh, I don't know. You said Martha. I didn't know who it
It's
was. It
called
took me a
Martha.
minute.
The documentary is called Martha, but it's about Martha Stewart. And I fell in love with her probably maybe middle school, high school. I feel like when she was on the TV and I would learn how to cook different things. And I've just always enjoyed watching her on the show, and I always kind of like aspired to be like her, crafty and kind of multi-dimensional woman. I
She
did
did
not
go to
realize how
jail.
amazing, huh?
She went to jail though, right?
She did.
Yeah, you know what? Who cares?
Realize, but look at the comeback she made. I mean, it's insane.
Okay, I'm just saying you don't want to aspire to all
No,
the
no, I don't
parts,
wanna go to
just
prison.
like the
But
non-jail part.
when you watch this documentary, like you just appreciate her so much more for she really was a trailblazer. She started from nothing. She's like one of 8 kids, and her dad taught her how to tend to a garden, and she got married really young, 19, and then had a child of her own, and just she did not want to be your typical housewife. And so she made a life for herself, and she is the first self-made billionaire in America. It was really impressive to watch, and just how at the center of it, she held herself to such a high standard. Her entire brand is built around her as a person. And so, that's why it all came crumbling down, of course, when she went to prison. But, she just was such a symbol of perfectionism and excellence. She never was satisfied with quid pro quo. Quid pro quo.
Quid pro quo.
She's impressive
It-
to watch. You should watch it.
Isn't she like real good friends with Snoop now
Snoopy
Well,
too?
Dogg.
now, yes. So if you
Yeah.
watch it, because I mean, of course, I know when she went away to prison, a lot of people didn't back her, which was actually interesting to find out that Jim Comey is who came after her. And I think because maybe when the trial was going on, I didn't involve myself in like the semantics, but they essentially charged her with lying to the FBI. She wasn't actually charged for insider trading, which is what I think that the perception is.
Mm.
They really kind of, were looking to make a point with her. And
Who
I
did
don't
she
know that she
wrong?
actually lied. What she said was, I do not recall. And
That gets you out of a lot of things.
do what?
That gets you out of a lot of
Yeah,
things.
I don't know what my attorney's told him to say. But it
Sure.
was just interesting. It's an interesting watch. I think you would enjoy it, Kelly, because she was an empowered woman. I mean, she still is an empowered woman, and she'll tell you, she always found herself, she always kept up with her appearance. She considers herself to be a beautiful woman. She does not shy away from telling you that she is powerful and she is smart and she is efficient. And all of these qualities that she has, if she had them as a man, would be seen as positive things. But because she's a woman, she was seen as, kind of a snob and, passive to the lower staff. And I enjoyed it, but I've always loved her. So it was for me, to see more of like that insider track to her life and how she became
Well, that is true.
Martha.
We do get some bad names called on us when we're strong
Yeah.
women, don't
I
we?
mean, to be
Yeah.
an assertive woman is not seen as like the greatest trait. Which
Tara,
I
Depends on
was
who is judging that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tara, did you see that show with Brie Larson, Lessons in Chemistry?
I did watch that show a while ago. That was a good show too. It's tragic.
Well, right, but when you were talking about Martha,
Yeah, she was an empowered woman.
it was kind of on that premise, right? Like
Mhm.
she had a cooking
Yeah.
show, very empowered. The men were running the studio. They didn't, wanted her to do certain things to look and feel like that
Right.
perfect little housewife. And then she effectively like pulled a one up on him and said, I'll do my own show.
Right.
I'll do my
Yes,
own.
because they wanted her to appear with the dresses and the apron
Yeah.
and look
And she
like your
was a
traditional
chemist, which is
housewife.
why
And
it was a cool show. I enjoyed it.
yeah, she
What
bought
was
the
that on?
system, and
I think it was Netflix.
Hmm.
it's a good show though. She has a
Yeah.
child out of
You should
wedlock.
watch it, Kel.
She wears
In my
pants,
spare time.
and in that time, it was just frowned upon, those types of things.
Doesn't
You
Martha
should-
Stewart still sell sheets in, Walmart?
I do
Probably.
actually think that maybe, I mean, she used to have the Kmart contract. I
Oh,
want to
that's
say she
right.
sells stuff at Walmart now, right?
I want to say that's right.
Which was
Tara.
I'm
also
assuming her
interesting.
brand it still sells. Yeah.
Yeah, because she came under such scrutiny when she started selling at Kmart, saying that here you are, this prestigious brand, and you strive for excellence. And she said, taste is not a matter of how wealthy you are. Poor people want nice
Amen.
things too. And she saw it as, a smart business deal, which it was, to sell at Kmart, because that's a mass consumer versus selling at like a Neiman's or something where, she'd be selling at a higher price point. But I think she assumed rich people can afford nice things. She wanted to be the every woman. She didn't come from money, so she wanted to be able to, you know, give that to every woman, not just the wealthy.
Nice.
Go,
All
Mark.
right, Kurt, how about you? What's your one favorite?
All right, this one had me
Bring it
just
to us.
cracking
Oh
up
no.
this weekend when I discovered. So I think Trump is just. I think people. Part of my problem with the mass media, going back to the Mockingbird media and everything, is how much they demonize this guy. Yes, he is a bit uncouth, right?
A bit.
The way he talks, but he always has been. But and nobody ever had a problem with it until he gets into politics. And I just think it's so funny that people are like, "Oh, our politicians should be these perfectly primed and proper." Like, nah, the original politicians were freaking bloody rebellious, like men. Like they were some freaking rugged bad dudes who got business done. And so it's just funny to me that people have this that think our politicians should be so prim and proper. That's probably why JD Vance was honestly a good pick, because he is very prim and proper. But I like my politician a bit more like Donald Trump personally. I don't mind somebody that comes out and attacks other people if they offend them, or people that get square. That's one thing I love about Trump. Trump always gets square. Like if somebody does him dirty, he gets square, which I think is a very admirable. It's not very WWJD, but I think it's admirable for a businessman and a politician, especially when you're looking out for the security of a nation, right, and the people. Anyhow, that's kind of beside where I'm getting at, but my point is he's hilarious to me. Just like he's a natural born comedian. I mean, the guy has a comedic gift that gets overlooked all the time and people misconstrue it. And but the best thing to come out of that, and I think this started as people trying to make fun of him, and they say Trump was born to be a teenage girl. And so these videos, this girl has been doing these videos. And I don't know if we can cut this into it, but I'll let you listen to one of them here.
The people of India are going crazy that President Obama was constantly chewing gum. And then on top of that, he took it out of his mouth, put it back. You can't do it. It's disgusting. The people of India.
They go.
Price, he didn't even know what the hell he got it for. Remember, he got elected. Well, so did I. He got elected, and they announced he was getting the Nobel Prize. Remember, he said, "Oh, what did I do?" He didn't know what the hell he did. He got the Nobel Prize for doing nothing. He got the Nobel Prize for doing nothing.
I mean,
November 5th, you know what's nasty to me? Michelle Obama. I always tried to be so nice and respectful. Oh, she opened up a little bit of a box. She opened up a little bit of something. She was nasty. Ooh.
I mean, this girl has like 100 of them at this point, of just him clips from his rallies, and they're so funny because he is a bit petty and he does go down these little rants.
Betty.
A
But
bit.
at the end of the day, like, is he not all of us? I mean, is he really not all of us though?
Thinking. And his comedic timing is like
The timing is perfect.
Did you watch the Joe Rogan interview, Kurt?
Yes, yeah, I did.
I thought that was so good this week because long form Trump, you got him out of like the guy on the stump that's like out there, you know, trying to be president, and you got him just like across the table from Joe. I mean, and he's just wicked smart, and they're literally like bantering, and he's, you know, same thing, like the comedic timing, but then he knows all kinds of crap about all kinds of crap.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
That is another thing that the media tries to tear him apart and try to act like he's stupid or ignorant, because what he's doing, he's a storyteller. He's a storyteller, and he tells a story, and he gets a little bit kind of down a windy road, but he always brings it back.
Weave.
And he's like,
he's got the weave.
And he's
the weave.
He's got the weave. But he's a storyteller, and he's a historian, and he's a very bright person. Obviously, you don't get to, and that's one of my problems with some of these people. They're so arrogant in their own intelligence to think that like you could do what Donald Trump has done and not be a highly intellectual person. The fact that you think you can just build, I don't care if his dad set him up, didn't set him up. To accomplish what he has accomplished in his lifetime is monumental, right? And that I mean, he is the most, I don't know, is he the most successful personality of multiple generations at this point? I mean, I don't know. I don't know who. That'd be hard to judge maybe, but I think he's been one of the most influential people of a few generations now. And it's funny to me that people discredit that and think he's stupid just because of some of the dumb things he say. And then I had a talk with somebody this weekend even, and they're like, well, I just don't like the way he talks. And I was like, if you put me in the spotlight for half a century, I can't imagine how many dumb things that I would have said that people could pick apart. It wouldn't take that long at all. And like, well, we should, he's a
We've
politician.
done 2 podcasts. We already got ammunition.
We already had to edit.
You know what I'm saying though? It's held to such a ridiculous standard that that politicians or people in power can't have honest thoughts or conversations because they're supposed to be some prim and proper politicians. Like, no, let's look at the original American politician at least. They were not that at all. I mean, maybe John Adams. I mean, he was, but he was an attorney. But anyhow, it's just I don't know. I think people. I hate what the media has done to him, and done to any of his supporters, because people can't see the full picture, and they can't actually let themselves like Trump because of how much they've demonized him. Like, some people have certain sticking points that they will not be able to get over because of what the media has manipulated into their brains.
I agree.
I love unfiltered anybody. So
it's funny. Gosh, the Rosie O'Donnell, the Hillary. I mean, just his timing. It's just
his timing is really funny.
His timing is impeccable.
Yeah. All right, rounding out the favorite. It's sort of my favorite only because it got blown up, and you know that I absolutely hate anything that feels like government overreach in anybody's life. And so RIP Peanut the Squirrel. I got to say that the blow up of Peanut the Squirrel, I mean, I hate what happened to the poor squirrel. So if you don't know, this guy had adopted this pet squirrel that, like, I think got hit by a car 7 years ago. And then he had, become whatever, TikTok, Instagram famous. And this squirrel lived in his house. And for whatever reason, there's apparently a theory that it was like some neighbor lady that also had an Instagram or a TikTok account and was a little bit jealous that he was more popular with his squirrel. And somebody called the authorities on this guy who owned Peanut the Squirrel, and the government came in, seized the squirrel, also a raccoon that he had adopted as a pet a couple months ago, and euthanized Peanut the Squirrel and the raccoon. The reason that I think this is my favorite is that the reaction when anybody hears this who had never heard the story is of utter shock, because everybody hears it's a squirrel. Who the heck cares if somebody has a squirrel in their house? And what right does the government have to come in and not even give the guy, like, and this isn't exactly just an average squirrel, because the squirrel was all over the internet, and it's just like the guy got no shot and they just killed the squirrel. And the reaction, which gives me hope for humanity, is that people are outraged because, and Kurt made a good point, if the government can come in and take and kill your squirrel, what the heck would they do when it's anything else that's slightly more important than a stupid squirrel? And I love that people are actually like, wait, that feels wrong. I hope they remember that that's what government overreach is.
Mm-hmm.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Hide your guns. You're right, and you're right. That gives me hope for humanity too, and that's why I said that comment at the beginning. Like, if Peanut the Squirrel is the last straw, if that's what galvanized the American people to take a stand against government overreach, I mean, what a sacrifice,
right?
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Peanut.
RIP Peanut, but you're in our thoughts and looking down on us. And also the memes of Trump saving the peanut squirrel are freaking fantastic.
But did you see the interview with the owner of the squirrel?
What?
The interview with the owner of the squirrel.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
And he's talking
they
about
didn't
how
just
they
take
like
them.
literally came into his house like it was a drug bust, and they're like ripping
Yeah.
open cabinets, and they're asking his wife for her immigration status, and I mean they like took it like he was a criminal.
Yeah.
Over Peanut the squirrel.
Over Peanut.
And I think I need some clarification. Is this in the state of New York? Is this New York City? What was the jurisdiction?
I think it's
Who was
just
the
this.
politicians? Who, like, because everybody is quick to blame. Oh, this is Kamala's America, and I'm not saying that's untrue or anything, but there's no way she's directly involved with, like, people love to just jump and make it like, like this is what's going to happen if Kamala takes over. Like, well, I mean,
I
yes,
want
but
to
why?
say,
I think it was just the state of New York. Not
I think it
city.
was the state
Yeah.
of New York. And the argument is that,
They're illegal in the state.
yeah,
As a
you're
domestic
required a license if you
Yeah.
wish to own a wild animal.
Yeah.
And so
And then
again,
you can't test them for rabies. So
and you can't, yeah,
apparently
sure.
during the seizure, the raccoon
He bit someone.
or it was a
Yeah.
raccoon and the squirrel. One of them,
Yeah.
one of the people got bit, allegedly, and right, the only allegedly got bit, and the only way to test for rabies
Is with
is
a euthanized animal.
the animal has to be dead.
Well, if
Yeah.
they weren't there, they wouldn't have
Well,
got bit.
right.
But he's
why I
had
said
the
it.
squirrel for
That's
7
why I say
years.
allegedly.
I mean, the squirrel was famous.
Yeah.
Like just ridiculous. So, all right, well, let's wrap out then. Brett, you want to take us out for the week?
Well, I
Alright,
mean, I
take it,
already
Brett, fan
done,
favorite.
my pre-scripted recorded summary, but I mean, in general, at the time of this recording, tomorrow's election day, and we'll have a lot to talk about in the next pod. So come back next week, and we'll do a full rundown of what happened during the election. Some of us will be very upset, if not all of us, or will be very gleeful. But I think there's going to be a lot to talk about. I think there's going to be a lot of data and analytics, which is what I am going to be bringing to this show next week.
Oh, wait.
Tara
What
cannot wait.
happened?
Analytics.
I'm going to give you the breakdown of the numbers.
Please
Exit
and
polling.
charts
What's
and
new
graphs.
this time than not new? Sneak peek, like COVID gave us early voting in a lot of these states. This is new data that these pollsters have never had before. So I've been trying to stay up to speed. So I'll send us out with, God bless America. And regardless of who our next president is, I believe our country will be okay, but it is incumbent upon all of us to ensure that it is, regardless of the candidate who wins.
I agree, Brett. Good job.
Brett.
God bless America.
BJ for president.
BJ for president. Are you going to run for president someday?
BJ's for life. That was my